Greetings, everyone, and welcome to ACEDS Data Unmasked, streaming live on LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. My name is Mike Quartararo. I am the president of ACEDS. Today, we will be joined shortly by Esther Birnbaum, Executive Vice President of Legal Data Intelligence at Haystack. Esther is an attorney, an e-discovery expert, an AI aficionado. She's been in the legal industry for 15 plus years. We're going to get into her background a little bit. But first, I should note Haystack is a professional services organization that provides e-discovery, information governance, and cybersecurity services across the legal industry. You can learn more about Haystack at HaystackID.com. Haystack is also a valued partner of ACEDS, and we like to showcase what's going on with our partners and throughout the industry for our members and for the e-discovery community in general. So every month we're talking with industry experts like Esther to discuss some of the latest trends and happenings in the industry. All right, let's get into it. Esther, thanks so much for making time to join us today.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
I always like to start with a little bit about you. Share with us, if you will, a little bit about your journey from e-discovery attorney at a firm to building an e-discovery program as Associate General Counsel, and then your current role at Haystack, and we'll get into your role a little bit. What are the big takeaways from each of these roles for you?
Yeah, I think it's really exciting now that at Haystack, I think I've covered, most of the big areas in the industry, from law firm to in-house to corporate. I think that they all kind of built on each other. I think e-discovery as an industry has evolved along with my career. I started back in the day at Big Law doing a lot of document review, where I was, started to be exposed to, not just standard review, but one of the firms I was at, I sat in a war room, basically paralegal to partner on the first matter that analytics was ever used on at the firm, learning brain space and relativity analytics. And honestly, it was probably the best case I've ever seen used for clustering. I've not seen anything like in over a decade that has even come close. But I think that was my first, big, let's call it an AI moment. And working at a law firm and being outside counsel for all of our clients, you only get you kind of get like a little bit of an insight into what each client is really dealing with. And as, data and technology has expanded, going in-house was the next logical step. And being in-house really exposed me to not just how, discovery works within a corporation, but, the expansion of, the type of work that I did, like beyond discovery into legal technology, which, ended up with me having the ability to test, Gen AI for e-discovery pretty early on, working at a fintech company that very much encouraged the safe use and adoption of Gen AI. But, I worked closely when I was a client at Haystack to test e-discovery tools. And that's kind of how it evolved into this role, where I really enjoyed the innovation and creativity behind it.
Yeah, I think not everybody has the sort of well-rounded exposure that you've had, law firm, in-house, and now on the service provider side. And I think that's just incredibly valuable and makes you stand out in the industry. Tell me about this new role. You're relatively new to Haystack, Executive Vice President of Legal Data Intelligence. What is your focus in this role? What excites you about this opportunity?
What my focus in this role is, really generative AI and building solutions for clients from discovery, through other areas of compliance and legal. And historically there are so many areas, in corporations that you wouldn't classify as, data that legal needs to deal with, but that's all changed. So it's really to build tools that, throughout the life cycle of our clients, where we're leveraging Gen AI and creating efficiencies and cost savings. I think that my in-house perspective and my law firm perspective helps me shape the kind of solutions that like I really can understand a company's needs, and this is just layering on to the next level of it. So part of the role is intern facing and training our for example our review teams, our review managers on how to review Gen AI, how to prompt engineer, how to consult with clients on Gen AI, and a lot of discussions with clients on how we can implement AI, like from e-discovery through the entire before e-discovery, even through the entire data life cycle. I think the most exciting part is that it's changing so quickly that even keeping up is hard, but it also gives us an incredible opportunity to like innovate and create.
I know I get asked all the time, why do we not have more programming? And it's very hard to create educational programming around something that's moving so quickly. So it's difficult. But you speak a lot. In fact, you and I are just back from the UF Law e-discovery conference in Florida. You speak extensively on generative AI and it's how it's transforming e-discovery. What inspired you to become an early advocate of Gen AI, and what was the pivotal moment when you realized its potential?
Okay, so to start with the second question, I did a POC, my first POC in generative AI last year. And, we had weekly meetings while we were doing the prompt iteration and sampling. And, I was really excited about like the potential to test this. And I went in and created color-coded spreadsheets as I was substantively analyzing the results. And, we did our prompt iteration and our sampling, and then we ran the full corpus of data. And we had the first meeting to basically debrief on the results. And, me, just being me, I came in and said, I never want to do a first level human review again. This was just so much better. It was so much faster. It's accurate. It's consistent. And, the results far exceeded the human review that we had did on the same data set. And it was almost a no-brainer for me. The capabilities are astounding. And what really stood out to me was, even like basic things like a 50-page financial document where maybe in the prompt we ask for anything that might indicate fraud, and the issue analysis that like the tool did basically said, on page 17 there's a balance statement, and there on X day there was this withdrawal which only left this amount in the account, which is suspicious. Now, I was a human document reviewer. If there was a 50-page financial document, I was not doing those calculations on a balance sheet.
Painful to look at.
So I mean, there are just so many areas where it's just fantastic. Now, I do want to say that doesn't mean that there shouldn't be extensive human oversight.
I was going to go there.
No. I'm a lawyer. I am risk averse. I think that Gen AI is incredible. I do have, some fear around it being used in, I wouldn't say an improper way, but in a way that in not the best way, just because there is an approach you have to take to really get the best results. And, I'm going to always say, this is what we need to do to stay defensible. Here, we always need human QC. We always need validation. And, one of the reasons I went to Haystack was because of the extensive research and testing and validation that we did on the tools where, we feel comfortable. And we actually like have published a couple of case studies on it. And, that's why the lawyer side of me is very comfortable coming out and saying how fantastic it is, because not only do I see the results, but we tested and validated them.
In fact, you've called first level review a quote unquote whole new world. And I'm curious to get your take on a comparison between sort of traditional tar workflows and this new technology that we're exploring with generative AI. What do you see? Do you see it fundamentally reshaping how we do first level review in particular?
I see it fundamentally shaping how we look at a data collection, like
Hmm.
before review. Right now we're focused on, review, like a set of data that has been identified for a review, sending it, through a review tool and QCing the results, et cetera. But I think that there's going to even be a bigger picture where, we're not relying on blind search terms, that we're really going to be able to use Gen AI to get so much more information about our data much earlier in a case. That's going to kind of reformulate the whole collection review, like producing structure that we have.
And we often think of generative AI in terms of how we use it to act on data, on collections, on processing and review. And of course, you've talked about some of those, but have you seen at all, is Gen AI going to also be used to enhance um, project workflows, to increase communication? Do you see a place for Gen AI in sort of the project management component of it?
Yeah, I mean, I think Gen AI workflows can be used across every area of businesses for efficiencies. Um, it just, I think we have to be careful in what we're doing, but definitely in taking mundane tasks and, making them repeatable and efficient. You look at even just like something like Microsoft Copilot, the
Mm.
efficiencies it creates they're just incredible. I think it's going to enhance your everyday workflow. And I think, the same way like we use scripting and different tools to do that, we're going to see Gen AI take it to the next level.
All right. So obviously, some teams, I mean, I think that there's still some hesitance in the space. People are hesitant to adopt things like generative AI. What do you see as the main barriers to adoption, and how can we overcome them?
Okay. So I think that, we all know lawyers are cautious and risk averse. And, I think that the fear and the hesitation for adoption is like this black box perception of Gen AI. They don't really understand what it is. We start talking about privacy issues and um, and there's a lot of education that needs to happen. Like having, keeping data private isn't that difficult. We're all working with the cloud now. Remember how adoption to that was contested for a while? So it's more about, you know, understanding what the back end is in a very palatable way. It's not as difficult. It's not this black box.
Mm.
Um, and I think that getting the, right education out there is really important, especially to people who aren't like technology minded. I also think that the biggest barrier is that people just aren't trying it because, like, when you asked me about my pivotal moment, that was when I saw it, when I saw the results, and that I saw, and that I was able to see not just the results, but how much more you get. Um, I was on a call yesterday where one of my colleagues said, a human review is kind of like leaving breadcrumbs, right? You're leaving coding, but you're
Mm.
not getting a reason. You're not understanding it. With Gen AI, you're getting a document coded or tagged as relevant or not relevant or an issue, but you're also getting the explanation for that. And like, and also a summary and a citation, and you're just getting so much more. So I think that if anybody out there who might be interested and is scared, just, it's pretty accessible right now,
It is.
especially in Relativity One, with Relativity Air, other products, but just go test it. Like, first of all, it's really fun, but that
Yeah.
might be my nerd side speaking. But it's also just really, it's not a black box. You get so much more information than you think.
I learned something yesterday that I didn't know, and that is if you're in one of these large language models using a sort of a web interface, you can name it, and it'll refer to you, tell it your name, and it'll refer to you and to itself as that name going forward whenever you log into the browser.
Yeah, my new favorite thing is creating a project in ChatGPT. Like, I think I talk to ChatGPT more than I talk to humans, which I probably shouldn't have said publicly. But
Yeah, that's a little creepy. I'm sorry. All right, you've been really busy in 2025, and we're only like 7 weeks in here. Last week we're at UF Law. You were an expert panelist. What was your big takeaway from your session on smart, swift, and strategic Gen AI's power in doc review?
We could barely get a word in because there were so many questions. My biggest takeaway is that people are curious. People, our goal in that panel was to really show, we've heard a lot of people talk hypothetically about Gen AI and review. We wanted to show, real life use cases and real results. And I think that really resonated with everybody in the audience. But we had to shut down, the questions from the audience because like there were just too many. We were like, we want to show you so many different things.
I know.
But I think that's like the curiosity now and the interest, and also just the idea of if you're not doing it, you're getting left behind. And I think that's really a shift from like a year ago where people were like, okay, it looks cool, I'm scared of it. Now people really want to get in the weeds.
Yeah. All right. And next week, to add on, you're heading out to Salad in San Francisco. You've got a presentation on Gen AI. What can we expect there? And what skills do legal professionals need to focus on if they're going to optimize Gen AI use in their practice?
Yeah, so I'm really excited about that talk because it's going to focus on, my journey, a little bit of what we discussed.
Mm-hmm.
I think that going from a law firm to in-house to, a legal service provider is not the traditional career path. So kind of focusing on how that is in a way a parallel to, my understanding of like Gen AI from, e-discovery to like greater application. And it kind of ties into the second question you asked, which is what skills you need to have. And I think that the things that have helped me propel my career forward are just like the growth mindset, being curious and, not having fear and really getting out there and finding out what's new and getting your hands dirty. And I think it's all about, you wanting to grow as an individual, in your career, and having that mindset, it really opens you to, a lot of different opportunities.
I like you use the word curiosity. I like a healthy dose of curiosity, but then significant critical thinking, right? Because
Exactly.
it's okay to play around with these tools, okay to use them in your practice, but then have the ability to sort of just analyze what you're looking at and verify, right? To keeping the human in the loop, like you said.
Yeah, exactly. And that's really at Haystack what we're focusing on, with our core intelligent AI platform. Like Gen AI, they're incredibly powerful tools, but if you're not using them properly, it's a problem. And we're really focused on like, putting together an expert staff to help like be really consultative with clients on Gen AI, and then really backing it up with the testing and validation and case studies.
Yeah. All right. You've got a packed Q1. What else is on your agenda besides the trip to San Francisco? Legal Week is coming up. Tell me what's exciting to you.
Well, Legal Week is coming up a little bit too fast. I think, I think this Legal Week we're going to see a huge pivot from last year where, we saw some early Gen AI solutions, but I think, we're going to see full Gen AI offerings across legal technology, whether it be CLM, forensics, discovery, and really, I think the focus, like moving forward, is going to be really beyond discovery. There's just
Contract management is a huge space.
oh yeah, and I mean it's the perfect use case for Gen AI. But yeah, you're going to see it across legal technology, and I think for us, it's really beyond discovery, and it's going further upstream with data and data classification to help with like cybersecurity and data privacy and information governance. I think that's really where we're headed because that all happens before discovery, and I don't think we talk about it enough.
Yeah, I don't think we talk about it enough either. Well, Esther, this has been fantastic. Thanks for taking some time to just spend a few minutes talking with us today. Congrats on the new role and all the speaking events that you're at. It's fantastic to watch you. Love being in your presence. Thanks for spending a few minutes with us today. All right, everybody, listen, if you are interested in our short form video interviews like this one, you can find Data Unmasked and our We Are ACEDS Live streams in your LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook feeds, or check the ACEDS YouTube channel where you can watch previous interviews. Thank you, Esther. Thank you, Haystack. And thank you, everyone, for joining us today.
Thanks.